Today we're looking at something that might sound a bit vintage, maybe? Tire retreading.
Yeah, definitely sounds like something from the past.
But trust us, it's actually, well, surprisingly relevant, especially if you think about commercial trucking, big fleets, that sort of thing. Well, let's get into it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to ShopTalk, the podcast where auto repair pros get real insights to grow smarter, run smoother, and boost profits. You might be surprised, it wasn't that long ago retreads were pretty common, even on passenger cars.
Right, before new tire tech and prices shifted things. Yeah, and digging into tire retreading, it's a
Exactly.
really interesting angle, especially for tire repair shops maybe looking for new ways to help customers.
Yeah, how so?
Well, it's basically offering a choice, a cheaper, greener option than just slapping on brand new tires every time. That can be a real plus.
Right. So the core idea is simple enough. Take a worn-out tire, give it a second life.
You just replace the tread.
Yeah, the part that actually hits the road, put new rubber on that. It's like, extending the life of something valuable.
And the aim, a tire that works just like a new one, basically.
But costs less.
Costs less and, importantly, is way easier on the environment.
Okay, and it all hinges on starting with a good base, right? The original tire casing.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The casing, the main body of the tire, its integrity is everything. That's why step one always is a really careful inspection.
Okay, let's get into that process then. Inspection. What are they looking for on that old casing?
They're checking it thoroughly, looking for any sign of damage, anything that might make it unsafe down the road.
Like what specifically?
Cuts, big punctures, maybe bulges on the sidewall, internal separations you can't always see easily, or just wear that's gone too deep beyond the tread itself.
I said.
If that casing's got any real weak spots, it's a no-go for retreading. Safety's first, always.
That makes total sense. You don't want to build on shaky ground. So, okay, say a casing passes, it's good to go. What's next?
Next up is buffing.
Buffing.
Yeah, they basically remove all the old worn-out tread rubber from the casing.
Yeah.
The goal is to get a really clean, perfectly even surface so the new tread can bond properly. It's like sanding wood before you glue it, Needs a good surface.
Right. Prepping the surface, a clean slate. Then comes the building part.
Exactly. This is where the technicians apply the new tread rubber. It's a strip of specially formulated rubber that goes around the prepared casing.
And it has to be precise, I imagine.
Oh, very. Getting it perfectly aligned, centered. That's key for balance, for durability, making sure it performs right once it's back on a vehicle.
Okay, and the last big step is curing. You called it vulcanization to what's happening there?
Vulcanization, yeah. That's kind of where the real transformation locks in. The tire, with its new tread band, goes into a special chamber or mold.
Ah, okay.
And it gets hit with serious heat and pressure.
Great.
That process forces a chemical reaction. It basically fuses the new tread rubber to the old casing on a molecular level, makes a super strong permanent bond.
So it becomes one solid piece again.
Exactly. That's what gives it the strength, the toughness, lets it perform like new. But like we said, none of this happens if that initial casing inspection fails. That's the gatekeeper.
Got it. A very controlled step-by-step process.
Mhm.
Okay, let's shift to the why. Why bother with retreading? We touched on it, but let's really dig into the advantages.
Well, like I mentioned, it feels like a win-win-win. Maybe start with the environmental side,
Hang!
because that's pretty huge. Think about how many tires get thrown out, landfills, scrap heaps, millions every single year.
Just piling up.
Right. Retreading directly cuts into that. It keeps perfectly good casings working, keeps them out of the waste stream.
That's a big impact right there. What else environmentally?
Making a new tire takes a lot of energy and resources.
Oil, rubber.
Yeah, extracting crude oil, getting natural rubber, processing synthetic rubber, the steel belts. It all adds up.
Got it.
Retreading skips a huge chunk of that because you reuse the main structure.
So less mining, less drilling, less processing.
Much less, which means a smaller carbon footprint compared to making a brand new tire. You're keeping all the energy already put into making that casing in service.
That makes sense.
Actually, I saw some figures suggesting retreading one truck tire can save something like 7 gallons of oil versus making a new one.
Wow, 7 gallons per tire. That's really concrete. Okay, let's go up to the user side, the people buying the tires. What's the financial win for them?
Cost, plain and simple. That's usually the biggest draw for the customer.
How much cheaper are we talking?
Typically, you're looking at maybe 30 to 50% less than a comparable new tire.
30 to 50%. That's significant.
It really is. Especially, like you said, for fleets, delivery trucks, long-haul rigs. Tire costs are a major operating expense. Those savings multiply fast.
Yeah, I can see that. Whether you're one owner-operator or managing hundreds of trucks. And it's not just the upfront cost, is it? There's more to it.
That's right. Because a good casing, a really solid one, can often be retreaded more than once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes twice, maybe even 3 times, depending on the use and the quality. So you're extending the total useful life of that tire asset quite a bit.
Which means fewer new tires bought over the long run.
Exactly. Fewer replacements, lower overall costs across the vehicle's lifespan.
Okay, win for the planet, win for the pocketbook. What about the shops, the tire repair businesses? How does offering retreading help them?
Yeah, this is where it gets strategic for the business owner. Offering retreads lets a shop stand out.
Differentiate themselves.
Precisely. It attracts customers who are specifically looking for those cost savings, or maybe they're driven by the environmental angle. It makes the shop seem like a place with more solutions, not just new tire sales.
So it's a way to carve out a niche in a market that can be pretty crowded.
Definitely. And if they manage the process well, sourcing good casings, doing quality work, they can potentially boost their revenue and maybe even their profit margins compared to just selling new. The sources we looked at even framed it as a possible major growth driver. It positions the shop as forward-thinking, offering value and sustainability. They become more than just a tire fitter.
Yeah. That is a strong case. But okay, if it's so good for everyone, environment, users, shops, why isn't it like everywhere? Why aren't we all driving on retreads? What are the roadblocks?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? There are definitely challenges. One big one is always balancing the quality you deliver with the cost. Well, customers need a tire they can trust, that performs well, lasts long, but it also has to be cheap enough to make sense compared to buying new. Hitting that sweet spot takes careful control of everything: materials, labor, the tech involved.
And I bet there's still some skepticism. Maybe old ideas about retreads not being safe, especially for cars.
That is still a hurdle, for sure. There are these lingering, sometimes outdated ideas about safety or how long they'll last, maybe from way back when the tech wasn't as good, or just general misunderstanding.
So people hear retread and think of those strips you sometimes see on the highway.
Exactly. Which, by the way, can happen with new tires, too. But yeah, that perception sticks. It really highlights how important it is to educate customers. Or maybe re-educate them.
Re-educate them about modern retreading.
Yeah, show them the quality controls, the standards that are in place now. Today's process is leaps and bounds beyond what it used to be.
Things have moved on.
Absolutely. The technology, the materials, the inspection methods, they've all improved massively. And for shops to succeed, they have to keep up with those latest advancements, the best practices. It's not static.
Okay, challenges are there. Quality versus cost. Yeah. Old perceptions needing to stay current. But let's flip back to the opportunities. Where's the potential for growth here?
Well, several areas look pretty promising. One is definitely reaching new types of customers.
Beyond the big trucking fleets.
Yeah. Think about construction companies, farms with lots of tractors and equipment, maybe even municipal fleets, buses, garbage trucks. Anyone running a lot of heavy vehicles could benefit.
Right. Expand the market focus.
Yeah.
What else?
The whole sustainability movement is a huge tailwind. The green angle again.
Exactly. More and more businesses, and even regular consumers, are trying to make eco-friendly choices. Shops offering quality retreads are perfectly positioned to meet that demand. It aligns their business with those values.
So it becomes a selling point beyond just the price.
Definitely. And for shops getting into it or wanting to grow, building good relationships with suppliers. Yep. The companies providing the tread rubber, the equipment. That's really helpful. Streamlines things, ensures quality inputs.
Makes sense. Partnerships.
And also, continued R&D, investing in better materials, more efficient ways to do the retreading that could unlock even more performance or bring costs down further. So wrapping this up, it really feels like tire retreading, maybe flying under the radar for some, is genuinely a smart, sustainable option with benefits all around.
I think that's fair to say. It hits that win-win-win pretty squarely. Shops can grow, customers save money on something reliable, and the planet gets a break from less waste and less resource use. Cutting landfill waste, using less energy than making new, It's a cycle with real positive effects.
And for a shop wanting to make a real go of this, what are the absolute must-dos for success?
Number one is probably obsessive quality control, balanced with managing those costs effectively. Stay current on the tech, follow the best practices, and maybe the biggest piece, constantly educate your customers.
Oh.
Build that trust, tackle the old myths head on, show them the value.
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive into tire retreading. And yeah, it's clear this old school idea is not just still kicking, but offers some real advantages. For businesses, for drivers, for the environment.
It really does. Which, when you think about all those benefits, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, final thought on that. Given everything we've talked about, the environmental pluses, the cost savings, why isn't retreading more common for just, regular cars today? What do you think needs to change? Is it technology? Is it just getting people to trust them again? Or is it something deeper in how the whole tire industry works? Makes you look at the tires on your own car a bit differently, doesn't it? Whatever the reason, it's clear that retreading has untapped potential, not just for fleets and heavy-duty vehicles, but possibly for everyday drivers too. If cost, performance, and sustainability can align, retreads might just make a comeback in ways we haven't fully seen yet. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Shop Talk by Shop Officer. If you found this helpful, share it with a fellow mechanic or shop owner and follow for more real-world advice. Want to take your shop digital? Visit shopofficer.com to get started for free. Until next time, keep wrenching smarter.
1, 2,